Good morning. So it is 4 a.m. and this is how I start my day. The first thing that I do is I walk into my office, obviously turn on the light, say hello to Freya. Good morning. Good morning. And I log on. This is my office. So it is nothing huge. And actually I'm thinking about taking down the more kid-like looking decorations and making it a little bit more modern, because VIPKid is very lenient. They say to use an educational background, but you can kind of do whatever you'd like as long as it's professional looking. This is the light that I use to help with lighting in my video, because that is very important. I could probably even have two of these and catty corner them, but this one's been working fine. So first thing that I do is I log on and jump onto VIPKid. It's always the first thing waiting for me. I do have a few things out waiting for me that evening. So like last night, I set up my dry erase boards. I have my makeup in here because, it's 4 a.m. And then I have a couple of flashcards. My headphones are here. My second phone that I use a lot is here. And I go ahead and log in to make sure that I know when my next class is. So I have a class at 4:30 today, which is actually normally it's actually 4 a.m. and I get up at 3:45, but today for some reason I didn't have a booking at 4 a.m., which is kind of odd, but that's okay. So I go in here and I look at my very first class to check out what lesson it is, if I've taught the kiddo before. This is a new student to me. I've never taught him. This kind of gives me a little bit more information about him. So this is what I will do just to make sure VIPKid is up and running and waiting on me. The next thing that I do, and since it is so early, normally what I will do next is coffee. And it's time for the coffee, so I normally have sugar in my cup. I have my K-cup ready to go, and I always make sure that the water is filled up on my Keurig. Then I come back in my office, and I typically have some sort of long sleeve shirt because, well, they don't like for shoulders or armpits to be showing, so then I put this on. Keep in mind, I still have on shorts. The only thing that I did to look a little bit more appropriate for my job this morning is put on a long sleeve shirt. Then I don't actually do this every single morning, but I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, so I feel it's important to put on a little makeup, and that's totally not required, but just in case you ladies are wondering, having this giant light makes putting makeup on so much more enjoyable. And to make things easy, makeup wipes. A little concealer under the eyes because, it helps me not look dead on the camera. But good news is there's actually a filter on the app itself while you're teaching that can make you look a little more alive too. A little bit of blush because, again, dead. I also do tiny bit of liner to make my eyes stand out more so they can see my facial expressions a little bit more. Coffee's ready. Okay, so this happens sometimes, and I am in the middle of a no-show. So this is what, so this is what this looks like. And I'm waiting. The student has not shown up for class yet. This is a new student. I've never taught this student before, so I don't know what is regular for them, if they have a lot of no-shows or something just happened this morning and prevented the kiddo from jumping online. But you do have to wait if if it has this master course, can you see that right there? This little MC. If it has that on there, you do have to wait the full 25 minutes. But good news is I'm sitting here checking Facebook and still getting paid. And since it is a master course class, I will get paid my full amount for this class. So don't feel like, they don't show up, you don't get paid. You just have to sit here for 25 minutes and wait. You do actually get paid. So that's good news. So I'm going to continue waiting for a little while and see if they show up. But we're already 13 minutes in, so I highly doubt that Yushin is going to show up today. But so I'll also kind of show you what the classroom looks like. So this is where your student would typically show up. Before class, you can go into your settings. It it only lets you do this within 5 minutes of class starting, but you can double check that everything is working. This is my microphone to make sure that it can hear me. It can't hear me right now because I turned off my microphone, but if I turn it back on, then you'll be able to see that when I'm talking, the green bar lights up. I always turn it off if I have a student no-show like right now, because sometimes VIPKid's controls don't always work perfectly, so that's a good thing to know. And the camera, this lets you double check that everything's working properly. Your lighting is good. If you have a webcam or anything, then this is where you would be able to change that. Your speaker, this is where you can make sure that your headphones are working. You can play this, and that's playing in my ear right now. It's really loud, actually. I'm going to turn that down because it's like really loud. I typically only keep it on like 1 because these headphones are awesome and they bring out their voices really well. Another good thing to note is that even if I turn off my camera, sometimes VIPKids turn off your camera option. Can't really trust it, so that's why I keep this here. So that way, even if it's not working and my kids can see me when my camera is turned off, they still can't see me, but they know somebody's there because it doesn't look like this. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I totally recommend that because when you're sitting here waiting on a kid and you think that they're not there, occasionally, and this is very rarely, but occasionally they are actually there and they can see you and they can hear you, but they're having tech issues, which is causing them not to even look like they are online. So just be very mindful of that. Okay, so that was one of my favorite students. She is a regular and she's very fluent. So that class was much easier than it could have been because I don't know if it's on my side or if it's on her side, but we had some major tech issues. And a lot of times she couldn't see my screen and she couldn't see me. I didn't have a problem seeing her or the screen or the slides or anything. So I almost want to say that it might have been my side that was having technical issues, but hopefully not. We managed to get through the slides okay. We did a lot of it just verbally because she could hear me. But yeah, sometimes that just happens and you just have to roll with it and you've got to do what you got to do. And I don't know if you noticed a couple of times I was taking pictures with my spare phone of the slides and then showing her them on the camera because sometimes she could see the camera, but then she couldn't see the slides. So you just have to be flexible with it and you just got to roll with the flow. Guys, it's only 5:30. Okay, so anyways, just wanted to catch you guys up. Going on to my next class now. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys something. The little notification that you get, so I'll show you, at the end of a class. So I just had class with Amy, and she's one of my favorites. She's super cute and always does her best. She's pretty fluent too. But anyways, when you're done with your class, at the very end, there's a little orange button that pops up right here, and it gives you a 2-minute warning saying, enter next classroom. It didn't pop up today, and so I've been busy all morning. I've had classes back to back, and so I haven't had a chance to even realize that my 6:30 today actually got canceled last minute. So if you notice here, this is my Wednesday, right? And here we are at 6:30 now, and my sweet Cherry, she finished. So what that means is she canceled that class within 24 hours, which means I don't have anything to do at 6:30 from 6:30 to 7 because she canceled within 24 hours. And that also means that I still get paid. So I have 30 minutes to just do whatever I need to do around the house, play with a dog, whatever I want to do, and I'm still going to get the exact same amount that I would get paid had I taught this entire class for 25 minutes. So that's pretty sweet, guys. Okay, so I have a little bit of extra time since my 6:30 got canceled this morning, and so I'm going to go back because I have 2 classes this morning that I didn't finish the feedback for. I try to always do my feedback during class, and then I can help you. I have templates and I copy and I paste and I change things up for every single lesson, but I try to do it during class because before I was doing a lot of work, and I realized that wasn't necessary. So I would have a binder, like I legit had a binder. First it started with Post-it notes, right? And then it started with full-blown binders of, you know, little journals. And I would write down every single time of a class. I would write down the name of the student. I would write down their lesson number, and I would write down a little check mark and a little X. And it was like things that they are good at, things that they need to work on. And in my feedback, I would wait till the class was over. I would go in and I would fill in things that they did well at, and then things that they were struggling with and needed to work on at home. It takes way too much time to do that. And I was, you know, it was taking me, you have to do feedback for every single class, okay? And you have 12 hours to do it. Otherwise, you get paid half for that class. And if you don't get it done after 12 hours, if you wait until past 24 hours, then it's no pay at all for that class. So you need to make sure that you do your feedback like right then. So I do my feedback during class. I go ahead and pull up the little feedback bar. I copy and paste my template. And then as we're going through the lesson, I type in things that they are good at, things that they are improving on, progressing with, and things that they are struggling with, and they need to practice a little bit more. Parents love it when you give them specifics. So if a student is struggling with the pronunciation of the th sound with the TH, then give them a list of words, right? Say, okay, well, Alice is struggling with the TH sound. Please practice the word 3, there, 13, you know, breathe, anything like that. Breathe is a little bit different, so I probably wouldn't add that one, but I just had a student and we were talking about the word breathe, so that's why it was top of mind. But, so I'm gonna use this time and go in and fill in my feedback for my two students that I had this morning. Now, my first one is the one that was a no-show, and he actually showed up 20 minutes past his start time. So we had 5 minutes, and I did extend it a little bit. I extended it to 28 minutes. You can do that, but don't go over 28 minutes. Just don't do it. That's why I didn't have time to do my feedback for him this morning. Now I'm out of there at 25:05. Okay, because your class period is only 25 minutes. If you stay anytime past 25 minutes, that's on you. Okay, that's taking up your time. That's delaying you from getting ready for your next class. That's delaying you from filling up your coffee mug. That's delaying you from your restroom break that you've needed for the past 8 classes. I only teach 8 classes in the morning, but that's on you. Okay, you only have to teach for 25 minutes. Now, if you show up late to class or you're having IT issues on your end, then you probably need to stay until 28 minutes just because it's the right thing to do. If you caused the class to delay, or if you caused the class to start late, then you need to stay until 28 minutes because it's just the right thing to do. And you want to make sure that your student's getting the most out of the class. So my first class, we only got to like slide 17 out of 27. So in his feedback, you're going to see that I'm going to make sure that I enter in there. Student arrived class 19 minutes late. So we were only able to get to slide 17. Slides 18 through 27 need to be completed at home with parents. He was a pretty good student. He understood a lot, so I think it will be easy for him, but it's a little bit harder when the students are younger and they don't have a lot of parent involvement. It's harder to get them to complete those if you don't finish the lesson. So try your best to get it in without rushing and skipping over material. But if you can't finish the lesson, you can't finish the lesson. Okay, it's not a big deal. Okay, so this is where I see I have missing class feedback or unit assessment feedback. So I will go into, this is my 431, this is my no-show, well, my no-show until 20 minutes in, and I will go to feedback. This takes you back into the classroom. And I have a whole template of feedbacks that I keep in a Google Doc. So this was a new student, and it was a boy. So I just copy my little template here. I go back to my feedback, and this is how I fill this in. Really quickly, I just drop it in there. Obviously, I changed the name. This is Yishan. Okay, it was a joy meeting Yishan in my class today. He's such a great student and a pleasure to teach. Obviously, I will change that if they weren't a pleasure to teach, and occasionally you will have those. So don't think this is all, what's that saying? Something in roses. Yeah, whatever. It's 6:30, you guys. So I just enter in things that apply to him. Yishan did very well today. He did do very well today. He arrived to class. I would normally type a lot faster than this, but I'm doing it with one hand, so don't judge me. He arrived to class 19 minutes late today. 19 minutes late today, so... Oh, sorry, guys. Comma, so, hey, and also you're an English teacher, so make sure you use punctuation like you were supposed to, because, you know, you are teaching somebody else how to work this language, so commas are important. So I'm going to finish this real quick, and then I will show you, kind of read it to you, let you know what it sounds like when I'm done, and then I'll go on to the next feedback. Typically, these literally take me, less than 2 minutes once I'm doing it during class. Okay? Okay, so this is kind of what the finished feedback will look. This first box goes to the parents specifically, so I make sure to keep it very professional, and actually I keep it very professional in the other ones as well. I'll show you those because I want you to keep in mind that parents can request to see any other feedback that you put on VIPKid. So don't ever say, this kid was a turd, good luck. Okay, they can see that. So, well, they can't see it unless they request it, but you don't want to take that risk. So to the parents, I typically say something like this. Hello, it was a joy meeting Yishin in my class today. He is such a great student and a pleasure to teach. Yishin did very well today. He arrived to class 19 minutes late today, so we were unable to finish our lesson, but he did well with the time we had together. Try to keep it positive. He will need to finish slides 17 through 27 at home when possible. He was able to quickly identify van, truck, today in our lesson. These words, I put them in these, what are these? Not brackets, slashes. I put them in there because they don't get translated over. So these will stay English if you put them inside these slashes. He did well conjugating the verbs to look, to travel. Please practice. People travel by car in my neighborhood. Yishan is doing well with the English language. I enjoyed talking with him today. Take care of yourselves. I have been including this a lot, especially with the coronavirus. And so love teacher Ashley. It's what I typically say on all of my feedbacks. Tips for the next teacher. This is where you can kind of add a little bit more information if you need to, just so the teacher has a heads up of what they're going into. I take these with a grain of salt. I am pretty basic with mine. Some teachers are legit kind of like, I don't want to say harsh, but they will tell you, if the kid is a pill and they don't cooperate and they don't focus. And I have said that too, but I say it in a much nicer way. But I do a lot of copying and pasting with these. So up here, he arrived to class 19 minutes late. I will put the same thing down here. He arrived to class 19 minutes late, so we were unable to finish our lesson, but he did well with the time we had together. I tell them what he did well with, tell him what they need to practice with, because these sentence frames will be on his unit assessment, so he has to get these down, and he was struggling with this today. Then it asks you, how easy was this lesson for the student? Be honest. If it's too easy, tell them it's too easy. And you can check this little, I suggest adjustment to current student placement. If it's way too difficult for them, same thing. But I feel like this one was appropriate for him. He was challenged, but it wasn't too difficult. This asks specifically about like his speaking and listening. How was he doing? He was doing great. Social studies, I still see some room for improvement. That's why I don't put excellent there. Social studies and science, this is like anything that's it's anything that's like the vocabulary that has to do with the lesson. So it can be vocabulary in the lesson or vocabulary that you extend with on the lesson. So if he's doing great with that, then go ahead and tell him, great, excellent, whatever. Reading and writing, he was doing excellently. Math, excellently. The slides, sometimes you'll see if there's like an error, and there will occasionally be an error in a slide. And if you think that something needs to be changed or something was just like really bad, I typically don't ever put, unless there's like a grammatical error or a punctuation error, because I'm a punctuation freak, then I will always keep it at excellent, but I will tell them if something is wrong, and it's happened before. Suggestions. Now this is typically, I only ever use this if I'm having issues with a child. Student can focus, like if they're not on camera the majority of the time, or if they're just like playing with their toys the whole time, I definitely check that. If there's a parent, and you will get this sometimes, if there's a parent that is continually feeding the answers to the student, I check this. If the student's having IT issues, I check this. If the student's running around like a crazy person and there's no parent there, and it's typically a younger student when this happens, I will say more parent involvement needed, because I need them to shadow this child and make sure that they're not goofing off. Level adjustment, if it's too easy or too hard, needs to repeat level. Maybe they didn't do well in class that day, or maybe they were just struggling so hard, or maybe they weren't focused during that entire lesson. Maybe you think that they need to repeat the whole level, they can do that too. Teacher gives apology. I've only ever given this because there was one time when my computer decided to do an update in the middle of class, and I don't know if I hit the wrong button. I didn't hit, remind me later or whatever, but it just shut down class, and it took literally 15 minutes. And so the rest of that class was destroyed. I was late to my next class. So the class that I did have, I made sure to give teacher gives apology. And this last little section this is for the learning partner. So this is the kind of the middleman. So this person will communicate any concerns that you have, or apologies or anything like that directly to the parents. Okay, so not only is it coming from you and your feedback, but maybe the kid, seemed maybe a little depressed, or maybe the kid was having like some serious issues, or maybe even you noticed the parents were being, a little too harsh with the student, you can kind of put this in this section to tell the learning partner, and maybe they can relay that message, I don't know, in a more soft way to the parents than you just telling them. Okay, so typically these are pretty simple. I still do a lot of copy paste here. You should arrive to class 19 minutes late today. We did not finish our slides, but you did a great job with the time we had. More repetition. I always tell them thank you for everything that they do, because they are the ones that set up the level for the student. They make sure that they are in the right placement and that they are where they need to be in order to succeed with VIPKid. And I always make sure to tell them, take care of yourself. So this is how we do the assessments. I do really want to submit, and that one is done. Typically it does not take long at all because I have the copied and pasted version. Okay guys, so I have just finished my shift this morning. It is 8 a.m. I'm sorry, it is 7:56 a.m. and I'm already done with my feedback. I don't have anything else to do. It's not even 8 a.m. yet, so I'm gonna go have some breakfast, wake up the girls, and hang out. Something else I was going to tell you, but I can't remember what it was. Who knows?